This is InfoHub recap for the week June 3rd to June 7th. India-Ghana Consortium front-runners for Rose Hall Estate. Health Expo officially opened under the theme Reaching for a Better Life in Good Health. GPL gets new board and modern women's shelter being constructed in Linden. Stay with us as we take a look at these and other stories which made the headlines this week.
The future of Guyana has never looked better. Our nation is on the cusp of a development program like never seen before. While Guyana is now emerging as an energy giant through the discovery of massive reserves of oil and natural gas, it is your government's intention that the huge benefits emerging from this will go where it matters most, to you, the people of this beloved country. There is a surge of confidence in the way Guyana is governed once again, and the level of investor interest is unprecedented. Guyana is poised to become the breadbasket of the region, and the pace at which this nation will grow through prudent fiscal management will be nothing short of impressive. But more than anything else will be the way every Guyanese, regardless of color, class, or creed, becomes a part of this historic period of national transformation, sharing in the wealth and well-being of it all as one Guyana.
Officials of the National Industrial and Commercial Investments Limited, NISIL, are hopeful that the privatization of the Rose Hall Sugar Estate is finalized by July.
Head of NISIL's Special Purpose Unit, Colvin Heath London, on Monday during a press conference in the agency's boardroom, stated that Rose Hall has received most of the interest among the three estates which are slated for privatization.
Out of the three estates, Rose Hall has received most of the interest. And on the backdrop of that, out of the three companies that are interested in Rose Hall, Pricewaterhouse is basically finalizing discussions with one of the companies. Those discussions, as I would say, are at a delicate stage. I would not be able to tell you the name of the company, but what I would be able to tell you is that the company is a joint Indian-Ghanaian consortium, and they're the front runners for Rose Hall Estate.
The SPU head told the media that one of the agency's mandates is to ensure that the estates are properly maintained so that they can be sold at an acceptable rate. Managing Director of PricewaterhouseCoopers, Wilfred Bagaloo, explained that the process is progressing quite nicely. He, however, noted that due to the limited information provided by the Guyana Sugar Corporation, there have been some setbacks.
The challenges require anchors primarily around information that we need from Guy Suko. Financial information for each of the estate. To date, I have not received that. Nevertheless, we are proceeding with our work. So my last request of Cabinet was dated the 14th of May. Just reminding them that I still need that information. Coming back to privatization, I'm hoping by the end of July we can make an announcement.
It was noted that while 4,000 hectares of land are available at the Rose Hall Estate, 15 to 20 acres around the factory would be sold and the remaining land would be leased to the investors. For InfoHub, Anara Khan.
A combination of unfortunate events resulted in the power supply shortfall affecting the Demerara interconnected system. On Wednesday, Chief Executive Officer of the Guyana Power and Light Incorporated, Albert Gordon, briefed the media about the situation.
Giving an update, Guyana Power and Light's Chief Executive Officer Albert Gordon says the current supply challenges facing GPL are as a result of several events happening concurrently.
The system essentially is operating without any backup facilities. As a matter of fact, we have almost the reverse, where something fails, there's no backup for it. But it doesn't just go down, it takes down other pieces of equipment with it. And that's partly also because the protection scheme that normally manages how failures in our power system operate is not what it should be as well.
The main issue now for GPL is repairing the damaged submarine cable that links Vredenhoop to the Kingston power station. Repairs are expected to take several weeks.
Because of that the cable failure, we lost about, to the total that is on the eastern half of the grid, we have a shortfall of 14 megawatts, because we will import about 40 megawatts of power from the Vrede substation. The Vrede substation supply about 26 megawatts of power. We utilize on the west side about 12 megawatts, so we will import the remainder onto the DBIS. So as of now, on the eastern half of the DBI, and the Demerara, eastern Demerara, we have about 90 megawatts of power available to us. And we have to satisfy a demand of approximately 100 megawatts.
Medium-term plans include using a 13.8 kV cable to connect the Vredenhoek power station to the Wales power station on the west bank of Demerara, then crossing the Demerara River to the Garden of Eden's power station to supply 6 megawatts. Long-term plans will see the purchasing of power from independent power producers and building redundancy into the grid to better offer power supply guarantees. More immediate plans will see the return of 2 megawatt generators from Anna Regina to boost available power.
Again, we'd like to use the opportunity to apologize to our consumers and let them know that we are working very hard to get them power on a consistent basis.
Coastal residents will be subjected over the next few weeks to rolling power outages as GPL seeks to ensure that many citizens get as much power that is available as possible. From GPL's head office in Kingston, Georgetown, Paul McAdam for InfoHub.
President David Granger has reminded Guyanese that the protection of the environment is an obligation and not an option.
The government, in compliance with the Constitution, has taken steps to protect human life by safeguarding the environment. It is committed to preventing pollution and ecological degradation by preventing the contamination of our waterways, the phasing out of the importation of single-use plastics, and improving solid waste management.
President Granger was speaking at an event hosted at the Buridi Benab State House in observance of World Environment Day. The president informed that the Green State Development Strategy will become a model of environmental stewardship.
It will demonstrate the signal role which a small state like Guyana can play in protecting the world's air, water, and land from the threat of pollution.
United Nations Resident Representative Mikiko Tanaka praised the Green State Development Strategy and pledged the UN support in its implementation.
The Green State Development Strategy is an ambitious and transformative national development vision and strategy that is well aligned with the 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda. The UN system will support the implementation of the Green State Development Strategy. We would like to, in particular, to work with the government and interested partners to address interconnected SDG issues.
For InfoHub, Anara Khan.
Health Expo 2019 was officially declared open on Wednesday evening at the Sophia Exhibition Center under the theme, Reaching for a Better Life in Good Health.
The Ministry of Public Health launched its second annual Health Expo at the Sophia Exhibition Center under the theme, Reaching for a Better Life with Good Health. The event was officially declared open by Minister of Indigenous Peoples Affairs Sidney Allicock. He emphasized the government's commitment to ensuring that every Guyanese have access to proper health care.
Good health of our nation is a pillar for real development of this beautiful country. Your government remains committed to doing its part in ensuring that every citizen in this beautiful Guyana, wherever you live, whether it's on the lively coast, whether it's on the plains of the savannas, whether it's on the rivers, creeks, valleys, or the beautiful Pacaraima Mountains, that you have access to proper medical services that will encourage the effective growth of your mental and physical health.
During her remarks, Minister of Public Health, Vala Lawrence, spoke of her ministry's public health agenda, which focuses on inclusive and equitable health services for all.
The intent and vision of the Ministry of Public Health in moving forward are to identify the gaps that exist in terms of accessibility and to work conscientiously to bridge them. Our objective is to avail our neighborhoods and communities in the hinterland regions of the health amenities that our coastal residents enjoy. This is the only way in which we can truly realize SDG number 3, which speaks of ensuring the health and well-being of all.
The 4-day Health Expo aims to develop synergies between the Ministry of Public Health and healthcare providers, and more importantly, the general public. With videographers Leon Leong and Kenyan Bacchus, I am Sinica Thorne for InfoHub.
Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu addressed the New York diaspora earlier in the week at a youth symposium and launch of the New York chapter of Move On Guyana Incorporated. The event was held under the theme Our Youth, Moving Guyana Forward to Modern Development, and was hosted at God's Battalion of Prayer Church, Brooklyn, New York.
Move On Guyana sets out to partner with individuals and international organizations sharing common goals aimed at creating opportunities for Guyana's youth. MOG's President Vishal Joseph explained that many of Guyana's youth constantly express their need to get involved in government and parliamentary affairs. However, he believes this should not be the only way that youth can contribute to the development of Guyana.
You could be leaders in your community. You could govern from your home, because it takes leaders like yourselves, like the faces I see in this room, like the faces I see back home, to support each other.
MOG's chairperson, Rickford Burke, reiterated the importance of youth participation in national development, starting with their full inclusion in the democratic process as registered voters. InfoHub spoke with some of the persons attending the launch on their thoughts about the development of youths in Guyana.
Youths, you have a major responsibility to do what is right, and that is to get registered if you are not registered as yet, and to go out and vote, and not just to be registered so that you can have an identification card. You need to go out and vote. It's your democratic right to exercise your franchise.
Guyana must be your other home too, because your first home, and you must not abandon Guyana. All my families who are here, I tell them the same thing. Go and put something into Guyana. We need to put something back into Guyana and help develop Guyana. I tell everybody that.
I hope we are on the right track in terms of the control of our resources. I'm looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to being home. At least I would love to be able to vote in the next year, next election.
Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu, who delivered an address at the event, reiterated the need for our young people to know their history.
And so we must balance youth with maturity and experience, or inject into youth the qualities of experience and maturity. And so when they begin to run things, they are running things with youth as their age and wisdom as their guide. That is what we want for the future.
For InfoHub, Rebecca Ganesh.
A special full court sitting was held on Friday to admit the newly appointed senior counsel to the inner bar.
Newly appointed senior counselors Shalimar Ali Haq, Stephen Fraser, Carol James Boston, Robert Ramcharan, and Rajendranath Punai were formally admitted to the inner bar on June 7th during a special full court sitting. The prestigious ceremony saw Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Basil Williams, the senior counsel himself, petitioning the High Court on behalf of the newly appointed senior counsels. This was followed by the ceremonial changing of the robes to reflect the individuals' new statuses. The 5 senior counsels were then welcomed by colleague Vijayanand Prasad and Bar Association President Tini Husti. Senior counsel Stephen Fraser, in a brief response, noted the need for a Judicial Service Commission.
That is something that I think has to be addressed and ought to be addressed with immediacy.
Senior Counsel Fraser intends to continue his practice at Fraser, Houston, and Yearwood.
I hope to improve standards, increase our capacity, both for research as well as to service our clients. I also hope to form more alliances with other councils, both locally and internationally, to present a very open and accessible platform for representation of clients, interests, companies, investors, and I suppose all sorts of platforms where people would need or can use legal services.
Acting Chancellor of the Judiciary, Justice Yonet Cummings Edwards, reminded the newly appointed senior counsels that they are part of the new and evolving face of the legal profession in Guyana, which is changing technologically. She also reminded that to whom much is given, much is expected. From the corridors of the High Court in Georgetown, with videographer Leon Young, Paul McAdam for InfoHub.
The immersion of natural gases which occurred in the Kumaka area, Barima Waini, have ceased. A hydrologist from the Hydromet office was dispatched to the area to conduct a further assessment. Director General of the Civil Defense Commission, Lieutenant Colonel Kester Craig, had indicated that the eruption was as a result of a Brazilian company drilling a water well at the location. A cease order has been issued and the company advised by the Environmental Protection Agency to seek the proper permissions before recommencing private water well drilling operations. The company was also ordered to ensure that the failed well sites are properly capped. Minister of Natural Resources Raphael Trotman has disclosed that the government will be pursuing public-private partnerships for the construction of the Linden to Lethem Road.
There are a few expressions of interest from companies, China, Brazil, and elsewhere, from what would Kurpakari to Anai down to Lethem. So we do have some proposals, but I don't believe we're at the stage yet of qualifying or quantifying who will do what. We'll have to have open tenders and so forth, but there's no shortage of interest to get that road done.
Minister of Natural Resources Raphael Trotman. Meantime, Minister of Public Infrastructure David Patterson updated InfoHub on the progress made thus far on the project.
The road to Lethem starts this year. There's a first phase, the road to Lethem is 450 kilometers. The phase one is 125 kilometers, which is being funded by a loan and a grant.
Government has also received unsolicited expressions of interest. Minister Patterson outlined the way forward.
We're keeping them and we're working with them to ensure that at the end of the day we have a package and that we have one continuous project so that when we start phase one this year, it continues, the whole project continues until it's completed.
The Linden to Lethem Road project is partly funded by the UK Caribbean Infrastructure Partnership Fund. The project aims to bridge the disparities that exist between the coast and the hinterland. Shaquille Bourne for InfoHub.
In another show of its commitment to the well-being of all Guyanese, government has delivered homes to 25 Sebai Region 1 families, and a young mother of 4 is overwhelmed.
Melrose Bennett, a 23-year-old mother of 4 children residing in the Sebai village, is elated to be the owner of a new 3-bedroom home, which was made possible through the Hinterland Housing Program.
I went to the mother then. In a whole set away, one set away in a house, plenty, nearly 20 away, and I feel so happy I get my own house now, and I'm comfortable by myself.
Bennett is one of 25 families in Sebai that received homes under the housing program. InfoHub also spoke with Waveney Benjamin, a single mother of 6 who has been occupying one of the houses for almost 2 years.
I feel happy because at least it's comfortable. And where I've been living is very, not been nice. House been a river breakdown, and so when this thing came up, I feel happy about it, and I feel happy about my home, and I strive to take care of it.
The project was launched in Sebai in 2016. According to the Minister of State, Don Hastings Williams, the program was aimed to improve the livability of low-income families.
Today, I am proud to inform you that as a government, we have delivered 25 completed houses at Sebai. And the the last visit I made, I walked around to see, and I was able to see at least 3 of the houses people were occupying. They now have comfortable 3-bedroom houses with an outpost and a source of water supply.
Minister Hastings Williams, along with Minister of Indigenous Peoples Affairs Sidney Allicock, visited the village on Saturday last and handed over farming tools and funding for purchasing seeds for planting. Minister Allicock noted that apart from the housing program, the government is looking to support community projects that will create jobs for the residents.
The government is ready to partner with you. We can't do it all, neither could you do it all. But together, I think we could do it.
The pilot hinterland housing program concluded in 2015, and due to its success, the government decided to have it continued until 2019 at a cost of more than $600 million. Seneca Thorne, InfoHub.
A new board of directors was installed to the Guyana Power and Light Incorporated. This board will serve for 2 years.
Heading the new board as chairman is Raul Lucas, former chairman of Guyana Revenue Authority's Board of Directors. The newly appointed chairman was clear on his mandate.
Colleagues, I'm appealing to you to understand that the focus that I'm coming with a high dependence on you for support, is to end this scourge that we call blackout in this country.
Lucas committed to ensuring GPL thrives as the board moves forward with its agenda.
I would like to assure you that I am interested in working with you.
Chief Executive Officer Albert Gordon, while commending the incoming board for having the necessary skills, pointed to some of the company's weaknesses.
We have to do significant work on the infrastructure side, building additional capacity, generation, transmission, distribution, as well as doing some reconfiguration to introduce redundancy in the system.
Minister of Public Infrastructure David Patterson, who handed over the letters of appointment, disclosed that $21 billion is available in funding for the company through one of the international banks. He also revealed that the company will be getting another boost.
Climate Mitigating Ministry of Norway wrote to confirm that Norway has agreed to transfer the $80 million which was earmarked for the Myla Falls to do 30 megawatts of solar PV farms with storage. And that, I think, is a significant boost for the company.
Minister Patterson urged GPL to adopt fair and meaningful policies for staff and to remain on track with its social responsibilities to citizens. The newly appointed board took effect from May 1 and will serve for a period of 2 years. Shaquille Bourne for InfoHub.
There is no increase in crime. Commissioner of Police Leslie James has set the record straight.
To date, compared with last year, with the corresponding period, we are operating at a minus 2.7%. I wish to advise very, very clearly, there is no upsurge in crime in the state of Guyana.
The Commissioner of Police, Leslie James, he noted that statistics reported by the police are based entirely on reported crimes. However, the top cop said he was aware of a few sensational crimes reported in the media that raised the eyebrows of citizens. This is something he warned the police force takes seriously.
As the premier law enforcement body in the state, we are concerned whenever there is any singular occurrence of any crime. But I wish to assure the populace, and by extension, visitors to the state of Guyana and our residents abroad within the diaspora, that crime is not on the increase in our state.
Commissioner James pointed out that there is a strategic plan that began this year up to 2022, along with a police reform board focused on curbing crime. The commissioner stressed that all crime statistics from the Guyana Police Force are based on reported crimes. With that, he urges everyone to make a report whenever a crime is committed so that the force can have a clear understanding of the country's crime situation. Isaiah Braffett for InfoHub.
A modern women's shelter is being constructed in Linden, Region 10.
The women's shelter being constructed in Amelia's ward, Linden, is being welcomed by residents. The shelter is expected to provide a safe space for abused women. Construction of the shelter is a collaborative effort by several government agencies and the United States New Horizon. Linden residents Irene Bentic and Carol Benjamin had this to say about the construction of the shelter.
We know that our women and girls will be cared for in a way, and they could regroup themselves and come out back in society as better women and girls.
We have so many persons who are troubled, so many women who experience violence within this area, domestic violence. And, this is real good for us.
The shelter, when completed, will house approximately 20 women. Minister of Social Protection Amna Ali said the shelter will provide more than just a safe space for at-risk women. Women, she highlighted, will have the support they need to rebuild their lives.
It will provide essential aspects of protection services and resources, which will enable women who have experienced abuse and their children to recover, to rebuild their self-esteem, and to take the necessary steps to regain a self-determined and independent life.
U.S. Ambassador to Guyana Sarah Ann Lynch noted that the initiative speaks a volume to the commitment by the U.S. to build a stronger relationship with Guyana.
For the United States, this increase in the quality of life of so many Guyanese, as well as the increase in our partners' capacity, your capacity, to confront these challenges is a great return on our investment.
Reporting from Amelia's ward, Linden, I am Isaiah Braffett with videographer Anil Silal for InfoHub.
On this week's Small Business Focus, Natasha Smith took us into the kitchen of Samantha Baker, a self-taught cook who started out by selling 10 boxes of food and is now making great strides in the hospitality industry.
Samantha Francine Baker owns and operates the Brown Sugar Restaurant and Catering at Ogle Front Road, East Coast, Demerara. Baker has a warm and friendly demeanor and always has a smile, important traits in the hospitality industry, which are much appreciated by her customers. They begin entering her establishment as early as 5 hours daily for breakfast, which is served with porridge, coffee, or local fruit juice. Every day is a busy day in the kitchen for this mother of one, whose day starts at 3 hours.
Our business is basically food. We deal with food on a large scale and a small scale. We start with breakfast from in the morning with our usual bacon, saltfish, Korean curry, routine curry, our pastries, pinwheel, egg ball, cassava ball.
But that is just for breakfast. Brown Sugar also caters for lunch.
Every day we have a different menu. We change our menu, but every single day we cook curry. Because Guyanese love curry, Guyanese love cook-up, Guyanese love fried rice.
Baker says she always loved cooking, a trait she picked up from her parents and grandparents, but her passion was boosted when she was 13 and understudied at the Woodbine Hotel.
And when they put me in the kitchen, amongst the older folks, I fall in love with cooking. And from then, I got this vision that, I'm going to own my own business.
Prior to starting her business, Baker was the employee of an establishment in Georgetown. However, when her transportation cost was deducted from her wage, it was not paying off.
Before I go down with 10, and then as people taste, I started going on with 15, then 20, then 25, and I actually started going on with a bus. The first day I went down with a bus with my bag. Then the second week, I started taking a taxi. Because it was so much food, I started cooking after them,
Interestingly, Baker never received much formal training in cooking, just a few crash courses at the Carnegie School of Home Economics.
I taught myself use Google and, ask a lot of questions. I asked people a lot of questions. People even came to work with me and actually taught me.
Brown Sugar Restaurant is located at 13 Ogle Front Road, Airstrip Road, East Coast, Demerara. She can be contacted directly on telephone numbers 592-664-2732, 592-628-5590, or 592-222-5042.
If you have a talent and a gift, you try to cultivate it. Because you never know. Maybe you might have a certificate or you may have a university degree, but then you have a gift and you're very passionate about that gift. Just make sure that you cultivate it.
This has been InfoHub Recap. Remember to subscribe to our website for more stories and follow us on our social media platforms. Have a safe and enjoyable weekend. Goodbye.